So there's often people that ask me a lot of questions about business, that want to understand how they can make a lot more money and get more money out of their business. And I find that there's 4 serious mindsets that people have over and over and over again that's costing them money. I go through these mindsets in this podcast so you can get 25 years of information and on-the-job experience so that you can do the same, but not take 25 years, but do it in 2 to 5 years instead, and learn from the lessons that nearly cost me millions. Make sure you listen to this and subscribe and drop me a review on the podcast if you get a lot of value from it. Let's jump into the show, and I hope it really helps you raise the bar in your business so you can get more of what you want. So quite often I speak to other business owners, and they can be at different stages. They can be people that are one-man bands just getting off the ground, or they could be people that have like 100 employees in their business. And it's quite interesting to talk to them because I hear what they're saying, and not just hear what they're saying, but how their brains are thinking, how their minds are wired, and how it also acts as a constraint in their world as well. Now, I love talking with other people. You know, I own 8 businesses. I coach businesses. So it's just a passion of mine that if somebody asks me a question, whether I see them in the, dropping the kids off at school, or maybe I'm just going down the shops or at the gym, people just come to ask me questions. And I love to just speak to them and get to know them. I wish I could do it more of, but there's only one of me and there's only 24 hours in the day. So I hear the things that they're asking, and it tends to be, even though it's different questions that could be, contextually different, whether it's, this person could be an electrician, or it could be that this person's got, 100 people business they're managing, they're employing directors, etc. It tends to be down to their mindset and how they're processing different beliefs that they've took on board from different advisors, or their friends or family. Different stages of business, different people are at different stages of business, and you can see that they're held back by the way that they're being fed information. And that fed information can come from their circle. It comes from, like I just mentioned, family members or friends, or as they start to get a little bit bigger, they get advice from other business owners. But advice from other business owners is useful, but it's only going to get you so far to the lessons that they've learned as well, unless they're exposed to a lot of other friends or, like, say, clients that are working with, that have big businesses. And the interesting constraints, I've narrowed it down to 4 stages of mindset that I've been on my journey, and I've seen other people as well. So I thought I'd do a podcast about this because it's essential, and I'll probably use this podcast to refer a lot of people to as well, so they can spot where they are right now and take themselves to the next step. Be aware that it's quite normal to be thinking the way you are right now because of the circle that you have. And that's the whole reason for creating this podcast, is to give you that exposure to advisors, to people that are on the journey, real people, not people that are, selling books or something like that, or have courses. These are real people that are going through the real journey that you are, or been there, just that little bit of, sometimes just that little step ahead of you. So they're exposed to it in 2025 and what it's like today, not, 30 years ago. So here's the 4 stages that I see. So number 1, it's the bare basics, but it's so important. And that's thinking that if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Now, I speak to friends. So let's say that the example here for stage 1 of the mindset thinking that's costing you millions, or it cost me millions back then as well, is that people will say, well, I can't do that because of, and then insert, I'm going to say excuse, but I don't mean excuse in an offensive way. It is an excuse because it's holding you back. It's a reason why it's holding you back. Not that you don't feel that excuse. It might be very, very real to you, but it's holding you back because you think that someone else has got an advantage over you. Okay? Look, I've met a lot of people, I've coached a lot of people and mentored a lot of people. Even the people in my own businesses that I've employed, they still go through these constraints. And having a mentor around you really allows you to say, look, I've been there before, and that belief that you've got now is protecting you, but it's also holding you back from moving forward. So here's an example. I met an electrician the other day, and he said, "Look, I wish I could own a business like you, Lewis, that can start to work without you, and people run it for you. But I just can't find great people and trust them." In fact, the wording he used was, "You just can't find great people and trust them." Now, there's a difference between I can't find great people and you can't find great people. When he referred to you, well, I can, because I found them and I've done it multiple times, and I've got clients that are doing it as well. The challenge is that you need to change the word in there to "I can't find great people." Now, when you change that word into "I can't find great people," you're actually taking ownership that it's not that it's not possible, because other people are doing it. But when you change the word into "I can't find great people," you've now gone to a place where I can't find great people because I haven't learned that skill yet in how to find, recruit, and manage them. Now that's different. Now, there's whole academic journals and books written about recruitment, retention, accession. There's whole books around this. So it's not that you can't find great people. It's that you can't find great people because you haven't gone through either experience, the learning, or mentoring, or had your hand held to show you how to do that. Why? Because the circle around you that you're getting information from is not supporting you for the person that you need to become to achieve your goal. Does that make sense? So number one stage of mindset is, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So like I say, I meet people down the gym, and they said, this guy the other day, I own this small business, and it's me on my own, and it's good, but I would like to be able to go on more holidays and spend 3 months away and have that business still providing income. And I said to him, "Well, it's not just that, pal. That's a want. What about if you fell sick tomorrow? What about if you broke your leg tomorrow and you couldn't carry out your work? What would happen to your family?" Yeah. So there's actually a must here that you must. It's your obligation as a business owner to grow and scale and break through this mindset that you've got to actually go and do this if you're actually going to be a business owner. Because at the moment, you're actually just owning a job. Yeah. And if that job's costing you 60 hours, not seeing your kids on the weekend, not paying you what you wanted to, then why the fuck did you get into this in the first place? Yeah. So you've got an obligation to actually grow and scale here. And if you do grow and scale this business, think about the obligation that you've got to actually pass this business on one day or sell it. You know, are your kids going to have it? And if you don't have kids, are you going to sell it, or are you going to pass it on to somebody else? All that doesn't come true if you fall into the trap of, well, that's not possible because I've got this problem where I can't find great people, or their language is you can't find great people. So that's the first stage. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So you might as well just accept it, that that's the way it is, and it's not going to move forward. So the second stage is that really holds people back and has nearly cost me millions in the past, and I wish I knew this a lot earlier, is thinking I knew it all and blaming external circumstances. So when I did start to get a business and get managers in there, I realized that if I want to get leverage and scalability in a business, there's only 60 hours, 80 hours that I could possibly work. I don't want to be working weekends. The reason I went into business in the first place was to have, life for my kids. And it was actually taking it away. So at some point, you have to get managers in there, scalability. There's all sorts of software nowadays that can get you leverage in a business. You need to think leverage. But then it comes to a point that you've also got to realize that the world of business is a roller coaster. There may be a lot of work out there at one point and not at another. So let's say, I remember a stage in one of my businesses as well that the sales was down to an organization. The biggest customer was an organization. And when that organization, it was actually back in 2008, couldn't actually not afford, they weren't spending. Yeah, it was actually the NHS, the health service in the UK. And when they weren't spending money, the business started to struggle. So I had to make a decision of what do we do about this. And the decision I had at the time was, well, it's woe is me, the business is suffering because there isn't enough money from the NHS coming in. Now, were there other markets that we could go to? Were there other people other than the NHS that was also purchasing, that could purchase? Was there other people, other customers we could go to in the UK? Well, is there other countries that we could go to? Is there other industries that we could go to? But because I thought that I knew it all, it was just like whenever I was getting any advice from anybody else, and this is just this one piece of context, whenever any advice from anyone else came in, it was just like, yeah, it's okay. It'll pick back up. Or, yeah, look, I know what I'm doing. It's just because of the NHS right now. It was an excuse that I was telling myself that everything's going to be okay because I think that I knew it all already. But when you look at larger businesses, all businesses go through cycles, seasonality. And I don't mean like summer, winter, blah, blah, blah. It could be the seasonality is like a 3-year seasonality or a decade seasonality. And as soon as you realize that, then we can start to plan and be proactive rather than reactive to things. But in accordance to the mindset was, well, I know what's going to happen. I know this is just a bit of a dip right now. So we'll be okay when things start to pick up again. But what's actually happening there is I'm giving the responsibility for my success, my family's success, all the people's success that I employ. I mean, some of the businesses now employ over 50 people, 100 people. Some of the clients' businesses over 100 people. And if we let it just go through the seasonality, ride that roller coaster of the ups and downs, then we are losing control. We are letting the control be the circumstance of something else rather than the circumstance of what we can control. So a big change in mindset, and I see this through a lot of business owners, especially that are approaching £1 million or $1 million, up to 2 million, 3 million. They are still in that cycle of, well, we are at the mercy to the market. Well, why be at the mercy to a market? So one of my business coaching clients, I won't mention any names, but they have a specific industry that they've always worked in, and they get advice from podcasts that say, just focus on the one thing. And they came back to me in a coaching session and they said, I'm just going to focus on the one thing because so-and-so said it on a podcast. Great. But here's a challenge on those beliefs, right? If you go and listen to some of the most wealthiest people in the world, Warren Buffett, for example, would he say, go and invest everything in one stock? No, he says diversify. Okay. So if you think about it, your business has to diversify to not be the victim to external circumstances. So why would you only sell one product or service? Oh, yeah, because it's what we do well and what we should knuckle down on. No, the thing that you should knuckle down on is the thing that you are working on, which is you as an entrepreneur. You are an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs need to think entrepreneurial and not one-set-minded. Yeah, entrepreneurial's mindset is investment mindset, leverage mindset, risk management. So you need to have all these things in place to make sure that you're not going to be at the mercy to external circumstances, because you can't control external circumstances. Oh, I heard someone the other day, Lewis, it's just the government and they're spending and waiting for the budget to come through. Great. Okay. Should we all just go and paint some signposts then and start, should we go and join a riot right now? Shall we go and, knock on Downing Street door and try and influence that? You can do. Or we can think about what is another market right now that we're not really working on, that we could expose ourselves to, so we could get more business from somewhere else, more cash flow. And then why let this just stop at business? So I'm all about making sure that the business is a vehicle for your personal success. So if we think about it, if your business is the only income that you've got, and you think, well, I'm the business owner of this thing and now it's doing okay and I'm going to pay myself from that. What happens if that business starts to go under a lot of pressure? You need investment in that business, so you decide to invest and grow it, and that's then affecting your dividends or personal income. Why not have more? Why not have more different incomes? So it's the same thing, isn't it? You can have multiple incomes, but thinking that you know it all, that mindset of knowing it all, and a lot of business owners, 95% of business owners, even hold my hand up, I'm not saying that I'm perfect, by the way, because you do play the game. You have got your blinkers on of playing the game. So it's like a football player, right? They get onto the pitch, they're playing the game, and they think that they're doing the right thing, and they play the game so hard that they don't see the other opportunities. And that isn't somebody that is just being arrogant to it. It's just that they're not seeing it from another perspective. So part of this belief as well is to allow external ideas come in, external feedback, be open to feed forward. So this is feedback that's going to move you forward, and listen to people around you, the boardroom table, who are around your boardroom table that can allow you to always be aware of opportunity, risk, and where you need to take it to the next step. So that's number 2, is of the mindset that costs me millions, because it's always there, but you have to be aware of it as well. Okay. So if you're on that journey from £1 million business to 5 million right now, that's a mindset that you really need to be thinking of. So a third mindset as well is thinking that the business bank account was like a personal savings account. Okay. So businesses that I speak to, they hold on to money. They hold on to money, and they see that. I always believe that you should have 10% of your revenue should always be in the bank at some point, so you can make investments, you can hire new people. And by the way, this is a bit of a side quest right now about hiring people. I see a lot of people that are trying to grow from 1 million to 10 million, still thinking like they're hiring for a below £1 million business, $1 million business. So they're trying to find, people for below 25K, 30K, knocking the hours back, blah, 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 just to try and keep that money in the business. But saving that money in the business like it's your personal savings account is actually costing you millions. Some of the biggest learnings I've had along my way has been stop thinking about how you can pass tasks on to other people and get cheaper people under people. Find bigger people to come into your businesses that you can hold accountable for getting results. Yeah. You've got to have great performance measures, KPIs in place, great management systems, but let other people come into your business. And I see this time and time and time again through businesses that I coach, is the people that come in that can actually walk the talk, they do get the better results. But if you're going in with a savings mentality and trying to skimp, yet trying to really grow to that 10 million, 100 million business, then you're never going to get there without having A players. And A players come with an A player package. And I'm not talking about, oh, yes, but you can make this commission and all this BS. You've got to have and put your money where your mouth is. You put your money where your mouth is and you pay them. If they don't perform within those first couple of months, then you've got somebody that can, that is lying to you. Yeah. But it's up to you. You recruit them, you retain them. If it's the wrong person, your recruitment system wasn't good enough to filter them out. Not blaming them. Your recruitment process wasn't good enough. Okay. So these are the sort of mindsets as well. So back to the whole point 3, that third stage of the mindset is really thinking like it's your personal bank account. Okay. You have to invest. Business growth costs money. You're not going to achieve 10 million. No, and by the way, it's not the 10 million or the 100 million that you're after here, is it? If you think about it, let's be real about it. It's about the profits. It's about your net profit. And that net profit allows you to do more, it allows you as an entrepreneur to invest more in other businesses or take more dividend if that's what you want to do. If you haven't achieved, by the way, I'm talking to people at this sort of level that have achieved their personal financial goals at the moment, and they want to go to something well beyond than just the norm. Yeah, we're talking to the people here that want global dominance. You're talking about, why not have the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris and things like that? Just don't satisfy for the norm. These are the people I'm talking about here. Whether that might be, I just talked about cars. Then it could be houses, holidays, time, whatever. You're not talking here to basic. Let's just make a little bit more money. Is what I'm saying. So if you really want to go to that top level, you've got to be investing in your business. You've got to be investing in your people. Holding on to money doesn't make a difference. Spending it in the right areas has got to be. Now, the fourth stage of mindset that nearly cost me millions is, okay, I know I need to spend. I know I need to invest. I know I need to build businesses that have got leverage. Okay, so all the systems are now in place. You've now got something that you can replicate more and more and more. You've got some time back. So you've got time back, you've got energy back, you're achieving your life goals, you've got your time with your family, you've got the vehicles and cars and the houses and the stuff that you want. The next part is there will always be constraints in your business. Okay, so there's two parts to this fourth part of mindset, and that is not thinking constraints. Okay. So where is the constraint? It's a bit like the floodgate. Everywhere in your business, now you've got all the processes from marketing, sales, operations, all the way through to finance, HR, customer service, retention, legal, compliance, quality. All these things are in place. There will be a blocker. If you think about cash flow and where it comes from through your business, there will be a blocker. Something is the flow of the water, the cash flow is coming through the firm, through the organization. And I'm talking now, not from the stage one people. So if I've lost you a little bit on this, it's because we are going big and we're talking 10 million, 100 million pound companies now. These are the things that are going to break you through. There are constraints. And by the way, you can still use these in smaller businesses as well. So, this is very relevant. There are constraints that you need to be focusing on. You need to be investing in. And you have to invest in the right person. It could be the right person. It could be the right person that can help you change this constraint. Somebody who's been there before. But spotting these certain constraints and where your cash flow is blocking through the business, when you do start to open it up, it then floods through to the next constraint and then through to the next constraint. And I even speak to business owners and I hear this is a signal of this happening, by the way, is they say, oh, I'm as busy as ever. Okay, but look at the bank account. Look at the cash flow. Oh, yeah, I'm now doing 100K a week. I'm now doing 100K a week compared to where I was doing 10K a week. So the pressure and the feeling of business just like grows around you. It's like that saying: if you drop a frog into a pan of boiling water, the frog jumps straight out. But if you put it into cold water and boil the water around it, the frog just boils alive. And that can be like a business in a positive and a negative. Sometimes when the business is boiling you alive, it's not a good thing. But sometimes it can be about all the flowers popping up and you're also not noticing them. Yeah, if you was in a nice analogy of that. Okay, so if the business is growing and reaching milestones, you need to celebrate those. But a lot of time from the people I speak to, they don't notice these milestones. They don't realize that they're actually achieving higher things because the pressure, the water around them always feels the same. It doesn't change. And that won't change from whether you're a 100K business, million, 10 million, 100 million. There will always be. So what does that tell us? We've got to get comfortable with growth. We've got to be comfortable with pressure always being applied, looking for that next constraint. Most of all, we've got to be comfortable with investing in it. Okay, so that's stage 4 of the mindset that could cost you millions, is not thinking about the constraint and where you need to invest. If you just invest, number 3, just invest in the business, but not the constraint, it won't make a difference. So I own a manufacturing firm, and we always thought that by buying this one big $100,000 machine, £100,000 machine actually, would really change everything. And we always thought, oh, that's going to be fantastic. Guess what? We bought the machine. It went in there. We also got a grant for it, by the way. If you want more information on grants, I know a great person that you can put you in touch with. So you don't have to spend that, by the way. You can get grants for stuff like this. We bought this new machine. It sits in the workshop and it's probably used once or twice a week. Yeah, it made not that much difference on more cash in the bank. At the end of the month, I was going, okay, £100,000 machine. Has it paid for itself? No. Why? Because it wasn't near constraint. We invested a lot of money in something that we thought was going to be good, but without the right analysis and gap analysis and the right people to explore and look at it, we had gone and made an investment that made no difference to the growth of the business. Not just the growth of the business, but the cash flow of the business. There wasn't more revenue from it. We didn't get more out the door because of this machine. We didn't make more margin on because of this machine, i.e. become more efficient and profitable around it because of this machine. But when we looked at where the actual backlog was, it was in another department. And then when we unlocked that constraint, it flooded through to the machine. So then it paid for itself, but only after the other constraint was unleashed. It's a bit like a lake up a mountain, and you're changing something at the bottom of the mountain where the water's just dribbling through. But the actual constraint is at the top of the mountain. You need to actually open the dam up. Yeah. So that's something that can cost people a lot of money. It cost me a lot of millions for a few years. And if we'd have made the decision differently in the first place, we'd be a lot further forward. Now, the reason I tell you this stuff and I bring all the advisors and other business owners and coaches and mentors onto this podcast is because this sort of information that took me 25 years to figure out you could do in 2 or 5 years. Yeah. So keep gathering stuff like this. Let's bring more people onto this podcast. Let me know in the comments where your constraints might be in your business, where your mindset constraints may be. Isn't that interesting? Because we've talked physical constraints, but what the whole ethos of this thing is, if you circle it back around, and this is the big wake-up call, your mind is a constraint. Those 4 stages I spoke about today, they are constraints in your mindset, just like the physical constraints that we mentioned. So where do you need to invest time and money? Who do you need around your boardroom table so that you can make more faster and make a bigger impact?